all right.
Am I being arrested?
You are.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Can I ask? What can I?
We have plenty of time to talk.
Okay.
Everyone regrets, not crossing their I's, dotting their T's.
That is Autumn Bardisa, caught in the act, and what she did is straight up unbelievable. She worked as a nurse for thousands of patients without a license, faking credentials, and fooling her hospital for months. How did no one catch her sooner? What happened when she finally was caught and forced to face a judge? Guess what? We're going to talk about that right now. We have brand new developments in this case. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. So imagine you show up to a hospital. Usually trust the people there taking care of you, right? What if one of those people isn't who they said they were? That is exactly what happened in Palm Coast, Florida, where Autumn Bardisa worked as a nurse. She wasn't just bending the rules, she was pretending to be someone else entirely, treating thousands of patients without a valid license. So how did she manage to fool everybody? I'm going to tell you. She got caught, of course, and faced a judge this week to pay the consequences. I'm going to tell you what those consequences are. We're going to hear from a legal expert who's going to break down exactly what this all means, what we should be thinking about. But I have to tell you how all this unraveled, okay? And Bardisa, by the way, spoke following the sentencing. Her words, interesting to say the least. So according to the Flagler County Sheriff, 29-year-old Autumn Bardisa was hired by Advent Health Palm Coast Parkway in July 2023 as an advanced nurse tech. She claimed she had completed her nursing education, that she passed the national exam, but in reality, she hadn't yet obtained a registered nursing license. And she apparently used another nurse's license number registered to her name, Autumn Hood, to make it look like she had. Now, her story about a new last name after marriage seemingly fooled her employer until she was considered for a promotion, and we're going to get to that in a second. But over the next 7 months, the investigation revealed that Bardisa had treated 4,486 patients during her time at Advent Health, all without a proper nursing license.
Hey there. Are you Autumn?
Yeah.
Can you step out of the car for me, please?
Sure.
Just turn around, put your hands behind your back.
Oh wait, what's going on?
Put your hands behind your back.
Okay,
We'll
my
tell you
child's across the street.
Okay, all right.
Am I being arrested?
You are.
Yeah. Wait,
Hold on.
Can I ask? What can I?
We have plenty of time to talk.
Okay.
Just give us just a minute.
Can I see my car?
Yeah, we'll take care of all that.
Can I tell my boss so I can tell her I can't go to the shop?
You have any other weapons?
Juliana 34 flag. One female secure.
So, let me just tell you, there is a felony warrant for your arrest. Okay. There is a bond on it. Okay, which is good. It's, I believe, $70,000 is the bond amount. Okay. So you can bond out.
What for? What for? What?
You know what all this is about?
Not really. I kind of had something with the Department of Health, but I have my license.
Okay.
And I had thought it was squared away because it's clear and active.
Okay. So that does stem from this. We were contacted, not me directly, but a guy with Health and Human Services reached out to you a couple months ago.
Yeah, and I had an attorney, and I haven't heard anything since.
Okay, so the attorney reached out to him and said that you were currently being represented and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
I'd love to have a conversation with you, but if you're represented by an attorney and that's somebody that wants to be here for all that kind of questioning, I obviously am limited on where this conversation can go.
Can I know what is a felony?
It has to do with medical fraud. I can get the exact thing. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it has to do with medical and stuff like that.
Okay.
You have 7 counts of identity theft and 7 counts of practicing without a license. And this does stem from everything with the Department of Health and Advent Health and all of that stuff. I mean, you're already aware of it. You've given statements to them, to other investigators before. This is just your first time meeting me.
Okay, identity.
So no, I've been with the other guys whenever they're doing their investigation, but I was not face to face with you for those statements.
Okay.
So.
Can I just call her on my phone at least?
Yeah. Well, no worries. We'll let you do all that. Now, we can't just take the handcuffs off you because I mean I know you're saying you're not going to fight, but I mean you've seen TV, you watch the movies, like you see.
I've never had an arrest record. I've never done anything.
I'm not saying you have, okay, but we just don't want to. We don't want it to escalate to some place that we put it, because we take the handcuffs off you. But what we can do is get the person who's watching your child, and if you want to tell them what's going on, you certainly can. I mean, or if you want us to tell them.
Can I call them? Can you just take them off so I can call her on the phone at least?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
No. I'm not going to.
No, but I'm going to grab your phone.
We'll grab your phone and put it on speaker for you. Yeah, we'll grab your phone and put it on speaker. No, the point is that I'm not saying you're going to do anything. We take the handcuffs off. That gives you it puts it there. Okay.
Okay. It's not. It's 0411. And can you go to recent calls? And then Gabby. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Turn it up for you. Looks like your front door's open.
Yeah, I was walking. Yeah, please.
Did you want to step inside out of the heat for a second?
Is that okay? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, anyone else inside the house?
Grab your keys for you.
Okay, can these...
Is anyone else inside the house?
Just my dog, but he's... Can these be taken off? I won't do anything.
We can't take them off for right now, okay?
Come walk to your house.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'll just move my car in the driveway.
I got to say this real quick. Have you seen the headlines about how many Americans are struggling with debt right now? It's serious, but then it shows up. It shows up in your own numbers with rising balances and fees and minimum payments stretching out for years. Doesn't need to stay that way, though. Why do I say that? Today's sponsor, PDS Debt, has helped hundreds of thousands escape debt, reduce what they owe, and take back control. So whether it's credit cards, personal loans, medical bills, PDS Debt has customized options to help you pay off debt faster. There's no minimum credit score that's required. They look beyond the numbers and they design personalized plans to help you put money back where it belongs, in your pocket. Plus, they're A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. Every month you wait is going to cost you more, but your way out starts right now. When the numbers are clear, act. Take back control in 30 seconds. Get your free personalized assessment and the best option for you at pdsdebt.com/sidebar. That's pdsdebt.com/sidebar. pdsdebt.com/sidebar. The Flagler County Sheriff's Office, the fugitive unit, arrested Bardisa at her Palm Coast home on August 5th, 2025. And Sheriff Rick Staley called it one of the most disturbing cases of medical fraud that he has ever investigated, noting she potentially put thousands of lives at risk.
We believe that there were over 4,400 patients that she was in one manner or another that was involved in care at Advent Health Palm Coast, which is our newest hospital in Flagler County.
That's the part, right? This is not a harmless crime. So how did this slip through the cracks for so long? Well, Bardisa had apparently told HR that she had passed her licensing exam, and when this promotion came up in January of 2025, a colleague ran a license check, and that is when the expired CNA license was discovered. Oh, and she also apparently never produced a marriage certificate to match the credentials that she claimed, and this is from Bardisa's sworn complaint filed in January of 2025. But even stranger, the nurse whose credentials she used, Autumn Rubba, went to school with Bardisa, but didn't know her personally. Two Autumns. And both work for Advent Health, just at different hospitals. This is according to the Flagler County Sheriff's Office. It's unbelievable. Now, authorities also found reports that Bardisa had administered prescription medications to coworkers, including Ozempic and birth control injections, although I will be clear, no drug charges were filed per the complaint. So she's caught at home, cops at the door, body cam rolling, and you think, okay, case closed, right? This is where it gets real. The state wasn't just going to let this slide. Bardisa was hit with multiple felony charges for practicing without a license and pretending to be somebody else, according to Flagler County court records. And over the next several months, she faced hearings and pretrials and mounting evidence. But the twist, instead of going through a full trial, Bardisa ended up pleading no contest to the charges. April 7th, she stood in front of a Flagler County judge, and well, you know what? We'll get into exactly what the judge decided in a moment. But we want to talk about it. Joining us, Florida trial attorney Alexis Rosenberg. Haven't seen her in a minute. Want to talk about it. So don't give away the sentence. We'll talk about what the sentence is. But why plead no contest? Because instead of going to trial, she ended up withdrawing her previous plea of not guilty, entered a plea of nolle contendere. I mispronounced. Is it nolle contendere? I think I'm saying it right. 2 charges: unlicensed practice of a healthcare profession and fraudulent use of personal identification. That's according to the Flagler County court records. Why do you think she did it?
So this particular plea, which is, we call it in law land a nolo, it basically is pleading guilty without admitting guilt. Pretty much that's what it is. And it's something that is kind of a carve out in Florida. Some other states might have it, but it's not across all states that you have this plea available. So it's not unusual for defendants to take that type of plea if they're leaning towards taking a not guilty plea. That's the plea they'll take.
What was the advantage of it? Like, why not just plead guilty? I always wonder, is it something like, I'm not going to stand in front of court and admit I did this, but I'm not going to fight the prosecution. I'm not going to fight the case. Is there something about, I don't want to admit it? Is it preserving your rights in any way?
Well, you're not admitting it, and it's pretty standard in Florida. It's kind of unusual for a defendant who's taking a plea to plea what you're talking about, not guilty, those exact words. So it's not unusual. The benefit, there's not necessarily any benefit other than the fact that you're not really admitting anything. So potentially from a civil standpoint, there are some things that apply there that are slightly different when you take that plea. But from a criminal standpoint, not really.
Are you surprised based on the evidence?
It was some good lawyering, that's for sure. I mean, we had a lawyer that went in and ultimately negotiated a really great plea for her. So I am surprised, but as we had spoken when this initially broke, I thought that the prosecution was going to have an uphill battle because she was hired and she did have 1 license. So was this a situation, as we had previously discussed, where maybe she was practicing outside her scope, but didn't really rise to the level of criminal in nature because she did have that certified nurse assistant license. She just didn't have the license related to the RN.
I hear you. So she ended up doing this. And then you go to April 7th, okay? And the court handed down her sentence, and Bardisa was sentenced to 60 months of probation. No early termination allowed until 36 months, so you're also equal to 5 years probation. Again, no early termination until 3 years in. Permanently forfeited her nursing license. She's barred from working in the medical field, and she was also ordered to complete moral recognition therapy, perform 50 hours of community service, and submit a sincere apology of at least 500 words. Now, we cover a lot of different sentences here on Sidebar. This is a little different one. Talk to me about it.
Well, it's definitely a little different. And this particular judge was very sympathetic, it seemed to her, because she was going through, you went to school, you took some initial testing, there's no evidence that you harmed any patients. It seems that you were actually acting as a pretty good nurse. And she did go through all of that. Really, the only thing that the judge said was she didn't get that licensure, which is kind of important. So, I do think it's unusual that she gave her just this probation, but I think the real teeth in this is the fact that she's never going to be able to practice again. Yeah. And in a way, the judge thought that was sad because it seemed like she could have been a really great nurse, and the public needs great nurses.
Do you think this sends a message? Not that I've seen a ton of cases of someone doing this or to this degree, but does this send a message to other people who are accused of falsely practicing?
I would say it does not send, well, yeah, it sends a message that you could just get no penalty. But I think what was different in this case was one, which the judge said was she had actually gone to nursing school. So it wasn't like we had, which you see, especially there's a lot of cases down in Miami where you have someone coming from another country and, they're down in Miami in their garage and they're doing plastic surgery and they have no medical training. She was very clear to kind of make a distinction, the judge, on the record about that, as well as no one was harmed. There was no evidence that anybody was harmed. But no, I don't think it sends a very strong message, because the bottom line is she did lie to the employer and misrepresented that she was a licensed nurse. And they did, thankfully no one got hurt, but they did let her treat patients as a nurse and in that capacity, and someone could have gotten hurt.
What about the apology letter? Why is that impactful from a legal point of view? Why ordered someone to do that?
I mean, personally, I think it's ridiculous. I mean, they do this with school-age kids, and I think it's ridiculous then as well. I think that maybe the judge was just trying to think of some creative penalties, maybe to have her sit down and really think about what she did and how this was definitely a poor decision. But does it have any impact on the victim? I don't think so. And I don't think from a punishment standpoint, I mean, my personal opinion is I think it's a little ridiculous.
Well, she spoke at her sentencing, and she also talked to the media afterwards, and she said something about whether this should ruin her life. Here's what she said.
Everyone regrets, not crossing their I's, dotting their T's, making sure everything was complete, but I think a mistake shouldn't ruin someone's life.
So Alexis, she called it a mistake. I mean, she was accused of treating over 4,400 patients without a license. She was accused of stealing another nurse's identity. Mistake? Is that what you want to say after you do this, and maybe it kind of gives you an idea of the way that she pled, but also after the judge, granted a sense of leniency?
I don't say it's a mistake. I definitely think it was a poor decision on her part, but I do believe it was intentional. She gave that other nurse's number. There's no way around that. So she had the intent to do what she was doing. I do think, though, that the employer, Advent Health, is responsible as well, because they have an obligation to make sure that their nurses and medical professionals are appropriately licensed and credentialed. So, but that shouldn't take off of her actions. I mean, in essence, is her whole life destroyed? No, but she's definitely going to need to find another career. She's not going to, the likelihood, even after this is over, that the nursing board is going to give her a license is very slim. Not necessarily impossible, because she can reapply later when this is done, but it's highly unlikely that Florida is going to give her a nursing license, because she was ordered that she had to relinquish the one she had, which I believe had already expired, the certified nursing assistant, and that she can't go and practice in the medical field, and she can't apply for any licensing for that 5 years. After that, she can, but it's up to the licensing board, and the licensing board under these circumstances probably is not going to issue her a license.
It was interesting because at the beginning you said, there might have been an uphill battle for the prosecution, but on the other hand, you just said the idea of taking someone's identity, she couldn't get past that. So do you think she would have been found guilty if she took this to trial?
For some of the charges, yes. I think that the problem, the practicing the identity, fraudulent using somebody else's identification, I think that was pretty clean. That would have been fairly easy for the prosecution. But the practicing without the license was going to be much more difficult, because she was hired in a medical capacity. She did have that lesser license, and it really got into what exactly was she doing, because before she gave that number, she was still working in some sort of medical capacity, and they would have had to go through all the billing and all of the things to show the medical records what exactly was she doing, and did it cross over from that certified nursing assistant, what she was initially, and the things she was initially hired on to over, did the actual duties cross over beyond that scope into that RN scope?
That's a good point. Well, this is the conclusion, unless she, gets back in the news somehow. We don't have any reason to believe that, but just an interesting conclusion to a very interesting case. Alexis Rosenberg, thanks for taking the time.
Thank you for having me, as always.
And that's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. And as always, please subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you should get your podcasts. You can check us out on NBC's Peacock as well. If you want to follow me, X, Instagram, my News Nation show, Jesse Weber Live, Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. Eastern. I'll see you next time, everybody.